Yeah, so my approach to the proton pack is completely different to what the other guys have done. 10 years ago, I decided that I wanted to actually learn how to weld. I didn't know how to weld aluminium. I had welded steel and that, and I made a big leap that I needed a project that would keep me sort of entertained and persevere and learn how to weld aluminium. And one of the things I really enjoyed as a kid was Ghostbusters, and I went, hang on, here we go, I want to make an aluminium proton pack. Is there such a thing? I found the GB Fans site. I found the plans from Stefan that Alex showed earlier, and I also found that there was 2 other aluminium proton packs in existence at the time. One completed, one being built. The completed one, I think it pulled in at about 28 kilos or something. The guy used really heavy metal, literally. I thought, no, I don't want to do that. I wanted to make it light enough. I wanted to be as authentic as I can. And so I set myself quite a challenge to keep myself entertained. And so this is the journey of this particular pack here. One of the interesting things that was touched on a bit earlier is no matter what you make your pack out of, whether it's store-bought, made out of paper mache I've seen online, 3D printing, they all tend to look the same at the end. So it robs a little bit of the effort that goes into some of them. So I'm just going to expose a little bit of that effort here. So on the slide that you can see at the moment, you can basically see what you start with, just raw materials, flat plate aluminium and tubes, a set of plans. I did purchase some sound kits and light kits for this pack instead of building them myself. And the key piece of the puzzle obviously is you need a welder. Now, if you've got normal woodworking and metalworking tools at home, maybe you like making coffee tables or whatever, you're actually pretty close to being able to build one of these things, it turns out. There's not that much in terms of specialty tools outside of the welder. And the welder does need a little bit of learning how to use to get it right, and you're going to see that as we go through. So if we just move along to the next slide, thank you. So this is a bit of a summary of the journey. And the first thing you find when you approach the world this way is that this is such an iconic shape, you don't know how to start because it's got curves and fins and bends everywhere. So I think I went like most people for the simplest, squarest looking part, which is the ion arm, this piece just here. And you can see the process in the photos there is just generally mark out a flat sheet, mark out where your folds are going to be, fold it up, and have a crack at welding. And you'll see on the 4th photo across on the top line there, you can see my second attempt, not my very first attempt. That's not photo worthy at all. But you can see my second attempt at welding, my 3rd attempt at welding, and then the final attempt for that first piece. And that's after a stack of practice welds just on scrap metal and watching YouTube clips. That's your go-to zone to learn to weld. And you start learning patterns, because that's what the proton pack is. It's just a process you repeat over and over. You build all the pieces, and like Alex showed in the back of his, it's all screwed together for the 3D printer one. This one's exactly the same. It's built modular and put together. So yeah, you sort of learn a few tips and tricks of the trade, sorry. One is measure twice, cut once, which is that old adage. But then you learn, when you fold aluminium, you need to allow for the thickness of the aluminium. Otherwise, everything starts scaling up 1/16 of an inch. And then when you bring it all together with parts, nothing fits. So they're the sort of tips and tricks. So what you can see is on the bottom row there, the progression of the parts coming together, learning to cut slots, cut holes in things while the aluminium sheet's flat, because it's a lot easier. You can just do that with a normal drill or a pedestal drill if you have one. And just forming it up together. So if you can just jump to the next page, sorry. And again, it's a rinse and repeat episode, just keep building and building. But some parts of the proton pack are a little bit more challenging than others to make out of aluminium. And what I had to start learning is, how can you actually fold aluminium and create nice little easy smooth shapes? Because it's really hard to weld very small parts of aluminium. I'm sure pro welders can do it, but pseudo novices like me can't. And one of the things I learned to do, and there's a couple of photos on this slide showing it in the top corner, learning to bend and fold the aluminium around corners and shape it around just wooden MDF bucks. And you can see it actually in the bottom right hand corner. There's a collection of shots there where I'm making the top of the cyclotron, the cake tin looking thing. I've actually had a flat sheet of aluminium I cut into a circle. I have a wooden sort of mold, they call it buck, with the radius curve on it that I've just put on with a router. Clamp them together, You go down to the Super Cheap Auto and buy a panel beater's hammer for like $10, they're not that dear, and you just slowly tap the aluminium around and shape it up. Once you've got these shapes, you can then bring them together and weld them together with the welder. And then after you do your welds, some of the welds are exposed on the proton pack to give it that rough sort of look. Other parts are welded together, and then you just sand them down and you file them down with files and sand and a bit of perseverance, and you get really nice looking edges and corners. So yeah, next slide there, Matt. Rightio, so in this slide, this is a little bit of a collection of some of the more complex parts coming together. Top left-hand corner, you've got EGA. What I tend to do is, as I was building parts, I've actually got a lot of new, old stock, original parts on this pack from the 1980s, and it's incredibly hard to find. Getting easier a little bit these days with Etsy, eBay's your friend, obviously, looking around for things. As I got parts, I used them to check scale to make sure things are coming together in the right proportions. And up the top you can see I'm partially completing things, putting screws on. Is this the right shape? This is the right size. The ladder rail there, in the movie props, they were actually a couple of grey lead pencils, a bit of Masonite and some rubber strip. In this one, I actually machined all that out of aluminium in pieces and brought it together. Here, it's partially welded, partially glued with metal glue. And that's the thing. There is such a thing as metal glue. Again, super cheap auto. People obviously use it to fix their cars and stuff.
See, I learned something today. I never knew that. So.
Yeah, okay. There you go. And so I have cheated here and there, but not very much. I tried to be true to the welding. Other notable photos on that particular slide is obviously as the bits are all coming together, you really see that iconic shape form up. And on the right hand bottom corner and side there, you see the pack together unpainted out of aluminium in it. That was the point where I copped a heap of flack on the GB Fans site because I was sharing this build, and with my mates telling me don't paint this pack, just leave it aluminium raw. It looks so cool. But in my heart, I just wanted a proton pack to hang on the wall. I was never going to do the cosplay thing. It is a slippery slope. And so I proceeded with painting. So next slide there, Matt, will just show the technique I used. Oh, sorry. No, I've jumped ahead of myself. No, that's you're right, Matt. Yep. The next thing I did was build the thrower. Sorry. So the neutrino wand, that is iconic, right? So same technique there. Folded sheet metal to form the body and case, tubes for the handles. That's actually a part these days that's kind of very easy to get. There's plenty of fans on GB Fans, members on GB Fans that make them and sell them in their market. I think there's a lot of other sources too. It's also one of those parts on a pack that's kind of worthwhile being aluminium because it's light, and if you drop it, it doesn't break. I actually have a 3D printed proton pack as well. Had it at Halloween with the guys a couple of weekends back. Right at the end of the day, I dropped me wand and broke it. So I had a little cry moment, but I'm recovering, just 3D printing up new parts. So yeah, that's the wand build. Again, I'm a little bit of a stickler for attention to detail. Right down the bottom, and there's a little photo there. It looks a bit strange. There's a blue thing and a bit of aluminium there. That's actually the tip of the wand. In the original motion picture, they actually put a flashlight globe. So for anyone who's like not in their 50s, a flashlight globe used to be a disposable globe on instant cameras. What they do on the movie is that blow the flashlight causes a pulse of flash. Later on when they're editing the movie, that's the marker for the special effects to create the streams coming out of the wand. And I thought, yep, okay, everyone's kind of got that with LEDs these days, but I wanted it to look like a flashlight globe. How can I do that? And I tried making some, failed, and in the end I realised I can still buy flashlight globes on eBay. So I bought a packet of flashlight globes and learned how to cut them with a Dremel just to take the glass out, and that's what you're seeing on the end of the tip of the wand there, just to add that little bit more spice to it all. Next shot there, Matt. Yeah, okay, so yeah. And this is the paint prep and the fit out sort of stage. So for painting, again, if you look at the original movies, they look like cast iron type units, and I learnt a technique from others online to achieve that. You can paint with what they call bed liner, which is the paint you spray paint the beds in your utilities with. And what you do is you paint it and you splatter it, and you do lots of coats of splattering, and it creates that ripple texture. And so then when you paint black over the top of it, it's got that nice cast iron look without weighing the weight of cast iron. So, and that can be done to wood, plastic, anything. I've actually done that to the 3D pack and it come out really well. Yeah, definitely. Internally in this pack, outside's all 1984 look and feel and parts in some cases. Inside is all very digital and modern. It's got a GB fan sound kit from Spongeface. A member called Spongeface is a really good guy, Doug. Can buy them online. Some of the lighting and that in there though is do-it-yourself custom stuff with a bit of 3D printing to make the holders to present the lights up to the frame of the shelf from the inside. You can see there's Ethernet cabling in there. I was a little bit maybe overly neat on that, I suspect.
I was going to say, yeah, so I've never internally seen this pack until we were preparing for this panel, and my first thought is, oh my god, that is the neatest thing I've ever seen in my life. So inside my ABS and my fiberglass shells, holding my lights in are Coke cans cut in half. It's a really bodgy job, but yeah, so that's amazing.
Yeah, I'd have to say inside my 3D pack you won't be so impressed. So that's the internal assembly, a bit of a look and feel there. And Matt, if you want to grab the next slide, mate. And there's the sort of finished product, and you can see it going today. It's got a vent kit in it. In that photo, you can see the vent smoke coming out of the end filter down the bottom. But I think it came out really good. I was really happy. It goes in pride of place in my theatre room on the wall. But it started something in me that I didn't think was there. Like, mission successful, learnt to weld, kind of blew my own mind that I could build something like this. I was kind of chuffed for a little while. My wife will say, I just couldn't stop looking at it. I wouldn't look at her for a while. So, but it ticked something off. And then what happened is, next thing I know, I've got a flight suit. I've got a PKE meter. I've got a second proton pack. I'm not up to 15 or whatever.
It's a gateway drug.
It's a what?
A gateway drug.
And so it's a bit of a slippery slope. And where I'm taking it, so I've always been a little bit handy. I like woodwork, metalwork. I like electronics. Built this, but now meeting these guys and being able to participate with the Queensland Ghostbusters, I'm actually having the opportunity to attend charity events. We've got a Royal Children's Hospital one coming up, and I look forward to actually using this, doing something I enjoy, but also providing back to the community. And even events like this, people that are interested, love talking to them. So it's been really good. So thank you all.